Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader, and tonight we will be focusing on the digital transformation for the Egyptian government that took place under the tenure of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi over the past decade. And we will be looking forward to what will be happening and the future developments of such an important field for the information technology and more specifically for tonight for the economy of Egypt and the small and medium enterprises. And I am honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Dr. Mohamed Azzam, the board member at the International Association of the Management of Technology. And we will be starting straight away with the main top story for today, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held a phone call with Chad's President Mohamed Deby to congratulate him on his election win. During the phone call, Deby expressed appreciation to the call and stressed that his country is keen on boosting ties with Egypt. Both sides stressed their will to expand the cooperation in various fields and to coordinate the stance towards the regional and the continental challenges. And from the presidential activity of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Sunday to what happened over the past week for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in terms of the presidential activities, all in the upcoming report. So stay tuned.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurated the Mosque of Sayyida Zainab after the completion of its restoration and renovation works. He was accompanied by Sultan Mufaddal Saifuddin, the leader of the Bohra community in India, and princes from the Sultan's siblings and descendants. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurates the first phase of the industrial zone and marks the beginning of the 2024 harvest season with projects of the Future of Egypt Agency for Sustainable Development in the New Delta. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi arrives in Bahrain to participate in the activities of the 33rd session of the Arab League Summit, where the Bahraini monarch, King Mohamed bin Isa Al Khalifa, was keen to receive the president upon his arrival. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi participates in the events of the 33rd session of the Arab League Summit in Bahrain and delivers Egypt's speech. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with the president of Djibouti, Ismail Omar Guelleh, on the sidelines of the Arab Summit held in Bahrain. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, on the sidelines of the Arab Summit held in Bahrain.
And from the presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi over the past week to the upcoming future in terms of the development and the investment in the AI, in the information technology, in the digital transformation for the small and medium enterprises and for the offshoring industry from 2022 and up till 2026. All this and more in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.
Egypt has made great strides in its DX journey, where ICT has become a salient feature and one of the key building blocks for development. This has fueled the local ICT sector growth, being the fastest growing sector with 16.3% growth rate during the fiscal year 2022-2023. This has augmented Egypt's global appeal for investors and encouraged more demand from global enterprises choosing Egypt as their reliable offshoring destination and business services hub. Building on this momentum, the Ministry of Communications and Information Technology has launched Digital Egypt Strategy for the offshoring industry 2022-2026 to propel the sector on a higher growth trajectory. The new digital strategy is designed to achieve the following goals: triple the export revenue for Egypt from digitally enabled offshoring services with 19% CAGR 2022 to 2026. Create and increase sustainable employment opportunities in the offshoring services industry with a focus on high-value services, adding 215,000 jobs over the next 5 years. Establish a recognizable brand name for Egypt in emerging digital services technologies such as artificial intelligence, data advanced analytics, and embedded SW and chipset design. Committed to develop a strong collaborative business environment to drive the next phase of growth in Egypt's offshoring sector. ITIDA's strategy focuses on developing and implementing two main pillars: ecosystem development, redesigned incentives to improve attractiveness and increase adoption, enhanced engagement with existing investors as well as talent and support development of local companies, evaluate commercial office space to support future growth, talent development by developing new and strengthening current upskilling programs, employability enhancement programs for student pool, upskilling and reskilling programs for employee pool, and boosting talent development ecosystem. Partnership collaboration with academia and industry. Finally, a new easy-to-administer incentive scheme is introduced in the strategy to attract foreign investors as well as empower local companies, encourage establishments of new businesses, support expansions of high-value technologies, and creating more job opportunities for both men and women.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I am honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Dr. Mohamed Azzam, the board member of the International Association of Management of Technology. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Always a pleasure and honor being with you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure and honor are all mine, Dr. Mohamed. Of course, we are speaking tonight about very important two topics: the relationship or the ties between digital transformation and the economy, how to be developing this relationship between both important topics for the future of the country. And speaking of digital transformation, how do you think this is important in terms of creating business opportunities for the future of Egypt?
Thank you for this question. Actually, digital transformation is not only about the provision of public services.
Yes.
Maybe e-government services is the most prominent and the most famous kind of digital transformation. However,
Yes.
this is only one aspect of digital transformation.
Yes.
Because digital transformation includes having a robust, up-to-date, agile ICT infrastructure that contains fiber optics networks, the 4G and eventually the 5G networks, having the data center, and witness the ceremony of launching the largest data center not only in the Middle East but also on the level of African continent for hosting the data of Egypt, that including the public data, the private data, and also availing such services for small and medium enterprises here in Egypt, and of course for anyone who can use this kind of very advanced infrastructure as a service for hosting their application, hosting their data. Also part of the digital transformation is to have a kind of advancement in the electronics sector, because electronics as an industry is becoming actually the backbone of any other industry. Just name it, the manufacturing or the industrial sector is totally dependent on electronics, agriculture agriculture sector, service sector. So having such pillar is very important, and Egypt now hosting what's called Global Semiconductor Alliances here in Egypt. This is the first chapter of this international organization that actually composed of the leading industrial players in the domain of semiconductors and electronics manufacturing, including the giant companies especially from United States. And this is the first chapter of such prominent alliances outside the United States, and that has now like 24 Egyptian companies working in the domain of electronics design. Another aspect of digital transformation, of course, is having a better financial inclusion and having actually spreading the concept and the culture of electronic payments.
Yes.
And we are witnessing also another growth in this sector. We are now reaching like 60% of financial inclusion, and actually this figure was doubled over the last like 4 or 5 years, as well as the number of electronic payment or electronic transaction almost tripled over the last also 5 years. And actually because of COVID that established such kind of culture, because it showed that it's possible to use my electronic wallets. I can use
easier, faster,
easier and safer and safe. And so actually COVID helped us a lot in the for the progression of digital transformation. Of course, another thing is having a unified databases for business and the individuals that would help you to have a better planning, especially now you are having such huge up-to-date very advanced data center for providing such service, for having such a sort of I would say data analytics, for having a better picture for policymakers, for decision makers, for governmental officials, for the business leaders to have a better way to plan and forecast for the future. So it's digital transformation is not only the public services, not only the e-services. However, it means for myself, it means that you have a modern, up-to-date economy and have the tools that could help you to deal with the challenges with respect to the 21st century economy, especially in the concept of having a resilient economy is becoming a very important aspect, especially after the healthcare crisis that happened in 2020 due to the outbreak of the COVID-19, as well as due to the consequences of the crisis in Ukraine between Russia and Ukraine that happened in 2022.
Yes.
So you wouldn't be able to have a resilient economy unless you have very robust, very up-to-date, very agile ICT infrastructure, because this is the mechanism that help you to be competitive on all levels, to be resilient on all levels. That's why there is real attention for this specific actually economic sector, which is technology sector at large, because it is the backbone of any advancement. And of course, utilization of technology in all economic sectors is not an option anymore, and as well as owning the technology that would help you as a country and as a nation to make a difference, to have very advanced economy and opening, of course, new vista for innovation that will help you to attract more investment, especially in the domain of startups and entrepreneurs that could actually, I would say, change the face of the Egyptian economy in all means, by all means. So.
Yes, Doctor, you mentioned a lot of important topics and a lot of important points that I would like to be focusing and shedding more light on during the course of this episode. The financial inclusion and the electronic payment, one of them, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is always speaking about the importance of such an important topic for the future of the economy of Egypt. How do you see, on the other hand, the people the citizens going on with the new ways of electronic payment, the financial inclusion for the future? How do you see the future of those important topics for the future of digital transformation for this field and for the future of the economy?
This is actually, it's a culture that you are changing the culture. A few years ago, nobody was using such electronic payment instruments. However, now, and especially as I told you, after the outbreak of the virus, and we had a sort of lockdown, and we were forced to work remotely, to stay physically separated, yes. And people realize, and citizens realize that I have the instrument. Why not? I'm not using it.
So the culture is changing and growing at the same time.
Of course, we are doubling actually the percentage of utilization when it comes to financial inclusion and when it comes to electronic payment. And we witnessed this with the application that launched by the Central Bank of Egypt, Pay.
Yes.
A lot of citizens, a lot of business are using this heavily because it's easy, it's convenient. And of course, what change this concept, this culture, the mobile payment through the mobile wallets, and this helped a lot to change the perception of electronic payment. It showed that it's very doable, it's very safe, it's secured, and I don't have to exert efforts. I don't have to go to physical facility to actually withdraw cash and use the cash. And if you see the percentage of what's called the payment acceptance all over the country, a few years ago, the only actually outlets using such kind of electronic payment acceptance methods were quite few.
Yes.
Large chains, very large shops. Actually, today you can find it in like 400,000 or even more outlets all over the Egypt, from kiosks to small grocery shops, to small pharmacies, up to the large retail chains that you are seeing here in Egypt. So the culture of acceptance also is becoming, because you can have the payment instrument, but you need on the other side the culture of acceptance, the electronic payment. And now it's growing. I'm telling you, something like 400, even 500,000 outlets that are accepting electronic payment. Now this culture also is embedded within the governmental services. By law, you cannot pay more than £500 in cash. So if I go to renew my driving license or the car license, or having any sort of services that I'm taking from the government, you cannot pay in cash. So
yes.
People now using in a very safe way their debit card, their credit cards, and the mobile wallets without hassles. And that's why it's a journey, and the most important element within this journey is changing the culture. And I think the culture is changing to the betterment for having more utilization of electronic payment instruments for paying our duties, for paying our services, and even receiving our salaries, our pensions. So it's totally changing, and by time it will be a very dominant culture, as happened in most of the countries that eased the way of electronic payment and eased the way of having a more, I would say, a widespread of acceptance, because actually this is the other side of the coin.
Yes, and Doctor, you mentioned a very interesting term in the first few minutes of our interview, which is the up-to-date economy. We are aspiring in Egypt to be having an up-to-date economy. How far are we from this up-to-date economy, and how can we be reaching it for the future?
First part of having up-to-date, I would say, competitive economy, because
yes.
you need to be, the ultimate goal is to be competitive, because competitiveness is actually, this is the main, I would say, objective of nations all over the world.
Is the competition now limited to the neighbors, to the Middle East, to the Arab world, or with the entire globe?
Actually, it's becoming a global competition by nature, thanks to the technology again.
Yes.
Today you can find a small merchant in very small city in Egypt or in East Africa or in China or United States would able to sell their product and services via the e-commerce platform. And of course, if you are having a good product that meets the international taste, the limit is the sky, because you have now the announcement, the tools for uploading your product or services by using such electronic platforms, and you can have customers from all over the world. And now somebody else, due to the advancement of e-commerce, is taking care of the logistics that you cannot do it if you are a micro or a small enterprise trying to something outside its physical location. Now actually the e-commerce platforms is not only just a platform to present your product or service. Actually is becoming an ecosystem that including the financing, that including the logistics services, including delivering your product from door to door, from your factory to the table of your customer, wherever your customer is. So everything is changing and everything is advancing, and each technology is advancing the other technology. So artificial intelligence is helping the e-commerce, e-commerce is helping the logistics and supply chain technology, and everything is connected to the maximum. So of course, if you're not able to use this enhancement, this mechanism, this kind of ecosystem, you will be outdated, and definitely you will be not competitive enough to compete with other nations and other enterprises from all over the world. That's why Egypt is very keen to keep our economy competitive. That's why we're witnessing a lot of investment in ICT infrastructure. We're witnessing a lot of investment in logistics hubs, a lot of investment, or actually modernizing your seaports, airports, and even your logistic network all over the country. We've seen a lot of transportation projects that are taking place to have up-to-date infrastructure for trade, because you need to produce, and the most important than the production is to have a well-established and actually up-to-date, agile, resilient supply chain ecosystem, trade system that help you to go or to grow your market share and help you to take your products from your production facility to your end user. So everything is connected here.
Yes, Doctor, and of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, that we will be focusing on the relationship between the digital transformation and the economy, or the small and medium enterprises. In your opinion, how can we be serving the youth, in specific the young men, the young women of Egypt who intend to be future entrepreneurs and to be having their own businesses, small and medium enterprises, and they could be served by the digitalization, by the digital transformation for the near future?
Definitely, if you are entrepreneur working in high-tech domain, it's easy. You can find a lot of now accelerators, incubators. If you have a valid idea, you have a proof of concept, you would have ultimate support from administrative level, on the administrative level, sorry, on the technical level, as well as actually can find a lot of funds and a lot of investment opportunity. Now we have a very good network that investing in high-tech startups, that including venture capitalists, including network of angel investors. The government is providing seed funds for such kind of entrepreneurs and startups. This is from the ICT or the enterprises or the startups or the entrepreneurs working in ICT domain. On the other side, if you need to work on different level. If you are working in different economic sector, if a small and even micro enterprise, you would have also support, logistic support, you have technical and non-financial support. You can find a lot of venues for having a lot of funding and I would say loaning instruments at very low rate to help you to grow your small business. And of course, the most important thing is to connect such breed of small enterprises, small and medium and even micro enterprises, with the buyers. So there's another role for e-commerce platforms to have a sort of aggregators, to have economy of scale, having such kind of production, because the economic scale is another factor, and that's why you might need aggregators as in the middle to help you to aggregate this kind of production, having or applying a high standard of quality control, because now quality is not an option as well in such very competitive market, because you are competing against everyone on the planet actually. So you need to apply certain measures with respect to quality control and quality assurance. And of course, if you have a good product, now you would be able as small and medium enterprise to be part of a larger ecosystem, to be part of larger, I would say, supply chain, to become a feeding industry for other bigger industries,
yes.
To have a better market footprint due to you have now the accessibility to the market through the new venues, especially as I told you, the e-commerce platforms. You can have financial and non-financial support. There is a law for totally in favor of small and medium enterprises that can give you a lot of benefits if you are working in some economic sectors, that including information and communication technology, the agriculture sector, the manufacturing sector. So it's your decision now to grab this opportunity, because this is an opportunity, and there is ultimate support from the government of Egypt, from the community as well. You can have a lot of volunteers, mentors help you to understand the business concept, because business by nature is very harsh, it's very hard. So
yes.
you can find a lot of mentors helping you as volunteers to make you understand or better understand the dynamics of the market, the dynamics of the business, to highlight some issues that you need to take care of, to identify your area of strengths, to help you to identify your core business, to strengthen this core business, to have a sort of distinction in the market, as well as pinpoint your areas of weaknesses that you need to work on. And this is a totally, now we have totally different ecosystem now, and this ecosystem is growing at very fast pace compared to like 5 or even 10 years ago. So everyone now is focusing on helping small and medium enterprises working in different economic sectors, as well as entrepreneurs working in high tech domain, because this kind of especially entrepreneurs working in high tech domain, this could change I would say the face of economic investment here in Egypt, because now we have a startup in Egypt, a very small startup that could attract like $370 million as a round of investment.
Yes.
This totally different concept and totally new thing that now you have Egyptian startups working in high tech, especially in the most advanced tech domains, including artificial intelligence, including financial or fintech, including logistic tech, including health tech, and they're attracting hundreds of millions of US dollars direct investment in such startups. So it's very promising actually, and I see the ecosystem now is evolving for having very robust ecosystem that could help such great minds to become prominent companies, and of course that means more investment, more projects, more employment opportunities for all sectors here in Egypt, especially for youth and women.
Yes, Doctor, allow me to be going to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, which is focusing on the opportunities, the business opportunities, and the importance of having more business opportunities through the digital transformation for the future of the Egyptian economy. We will be having more details regarding such an important topic in the upcoming reports, so stay tuned.
Digital transformation is an evolution that has taken place over the last few decades. It has led to a better and more connected world. Digital transformation in Egypt is not much different from what it is in other countries worldwide. Digital transformation has become a key topic for many leading companies and governments, as well as in Egypt, where the digital landscape is undergoing a rapid transformation. With a population of more than 102.3 million people, Egypt has one of the fastest growing economies with an annual GDP growth rate of about 5.3%. And this is mainly due to increased government spending on infrastructure, which has led to new business opportunities for IT companies. Egyptian businesses are taking advantage of this digital transformation and creating new opportunities for themselves, so they can now compete with global players in their respective industries. Egypt has spent substantially constructing and improving its technological infrastructure and national infrastructure to become a platform facilitator for its development and progress. Egypt has developed a national strategy to achieve its socio-economic development goals and address several issues including debt, illiteracy, insufficient infrastructure, and the need for structural transformation. The strategy has been modified multiple times over the years to meet local and global developments, with ICT serving as a constant driver for strategy formulation, development, and implementation. Egypt has stepped up its efforts in this area in response to the epidemic and its attendant issues. Egypt's budget plan statistics increase public investment allocations for the information and communication technology industry by an unprecedented 300% in fiscal year 2022-2023 to accelerate digital transformation. The Federation of Egyptian Chambers of Commerce launched the Digital Future Initiative in collaboration with the Ministry of Public Business Sector, Microsoft, and Fiber Systems, intending to assist Egypt's medium and small-sized enterprises in dealing with the digital transformation. Egypt has a unique chance to alter various economic sectors, including financial services, commerce, healthcare, agriculture, and manufacturing, while also providing possibilities for individuals and businesses, as well as influencing equitable development and economic progress.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I am honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Dr. Mohamed Azzam, the board member at the International Association of the Management of Technology. And we were speaking before the break about the youth, about the small and medium enterprises, about the importance of digital transformation for the business opportunities for the future. But how can we be qualifying the youth, the young men, the young women of Egypt who want to be going into this domain with training as well?
This is very important aspect actually, because no formal education system will give you the right digital skills. That's why government of Egypt now is launching a lot of initiatives that help you, as even starting from 10 years old actually.
10 years old?
10 years old, yes.
Here in Egypt?
Here in Egypt. This is a new program.
Yes.
Starting from 10 years old, and there's a program. And there's
We're used to having those programs after graduating, or maybe at 18, for example.
Actually, now we are starting at 10.
Yes.
So starting at 10, this program for very young students in elementary schools. And there's another program for youngsters in high schools. And there's another program for undergrad students and fresh grads, as well as even if you are already graduated.
Yes.
And you need to have career shifts. there is another program. So through this program, there's a lot of training themes and training domains that you can enter in, that you can benefit from, that's including the most advanced technologies from the most prestigious training institution and education institution from all over the world. So you can have training in the domain of artificial intelligence, digital arts, cybersecurity, embedded software, because actually if you look at any system around you, you can have actually it's operated by embedded software. That's including cars, for example,
yes.
House, the white goods at home. So embedded software is another very important domain. So it's your decision to join such training programs. It's free of charge. You need to register, and it's online because you are living in a digital era. So I think most of the people that need to enter this economic sector, they can have such training remotely. And of course, this is a great opportunity if you need to be qualified and have the ability to upgrade your digital skills all the time, because actually due to the progression of technology, due to the pace of such development and the pace of technology development that we are witnessing now, it's beyond imagination actually. So you cannot rely on formal education. You cannot have you cannot have the formal education as your only source of knowledge. Actually,
you have to add to it
all the time. So
yes.
the advice here for our youth is to have the most important skill is to learn how to learn, because today you need some skills, tomorrow your skills will be obsolete, and you need different skill set, and the only way is to keep learning and to have the ability to learn remotely, because it's very easy to have such content online. And of course Egypt is investing in content, and actually invested a lot of obtaining license to use such content, and all this kind of content, it's very advanced. It's coming from the most prestigious, the most advanced institution from all over the world, free of charge for Egyptians. You need to research, you need to consume such content, you need to upgrade your digital skills all the time if you need to have a footprint in the job market at large, and specifically in ICT economic sector in specific. So the only way is to learn how to learn, and of course the knowledge, the content is there and free of charge for everyone who can apply on the platforms launched by the Egyptian government.
Yes, and Doctor, for the last 2 minutes of the episode for tonight, you've mentioned a very important point for the graduates as well, to be updating your skills, to be upgrading your skills at the same time. How do you think this should be done? Because you mentioned that the markets are always changing, the needs are always changing, and so my skills, they need to be changing for whatever happens for the future. How do you think this should be happening for the Egyptian citizens living who will be wanting to be having a career shift, for example?
This another venue for them. The only way is to learn the new skills and to join such programs to learn, and content is there, and the content is free.
Yes.
So it's your personal will to change the way you consume such content. It's your personal will to decide, I need such skills, I need to work on myself. And acquiring new skills in the past might have, you might have the time, enough time to acquire such new skills, the expenses. And now the pace is beyond imagination, so you need to acquire the skills in a very fast way. You need to practice the skills in a very fast way, and of course by utilization of such content that is available online and is available free of charge. It's your decision now to join the journey actually, and become a very proactive member within the society, and of course you need to upgrade the skills all the time. This is not an option anymore.
Yes, exactly. Dr. Mohamed Azzam, the board member and the International Association of the Management of Technology. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Always pleasure and honor being with you.
Anytime.
Thank you.
The pleasure is all mine. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching and goodbye.